This episode of Biters is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Hey everybody, this is Dianne. Welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell.
And I gotta tell you, little sister, it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine.
Oh,
I love you. I'm glad you're back.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm back too. Oklahoma City is amazing. If we have any fans out there, I am very partial to the Northwest, but holy crap, Oklahoma is beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah, like I highly recommend a visit. I stayed in a place that was called Bricktown, which is exactly what you would think of. It's like all of the buildings are made of brick, and they're all old factories and everything. And it's sort of like super hipster now with all the breweries and restaurants and burlesque nightclubs and things like that. So it was like a 30-minute walk to the Oklahoma City Memorial. So it was beautiful. It was amazing. They still have green leaves on their deciduous trees, which we don't have here in Alaska.
No, we definitely do not.
Dead and falling to the ground, even though it's still like 62 degrees here, which is ridiculous for October.
We are having a ridiculous fall because our summer sucked. Somebody's paying us back.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Oklahoma City was amazing. Thank you, Phil, for filling in for me.
Yes, it was totally fun to podcast with Phil. Just because I said I'm glad you're back doesn't mean I didn't enjoy Phil.
Yeah, I've gotten to podcast with Phil a couple of times. I think it's been a while since you've podcasted with him.
Well, I've only ever done it in our movie review podcast. I've never podcasted with him alone, so...
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are podcasting Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 16, I Lose Myself.
The season finale. Woo!
Yay!
So overall, don't go into your rating just for this episode yet. And I don't have a rating prepared, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot. But how did you feel about the season overall?
I loved it.
All right. I did too. And I got a text a message from Thomas O'Mara today, and he was saying, my only 2 photo ops are Fear the Walking Dead photo ops at Atlanta, and he's very excited. And I thought that spoke volumes.
I loved the cast. I mean, we all know that Jenna Elfman is absolutely amazing. Thomas O'Mara got some great retweet and pictures and everything with her. Garrett Dillahunt, awesome. Daryl Chill Mitchell, amazing. And our featured cast member this week, Mo Collins, is I absolutely love her. So I'm loving this season. I'm loving the cast revamp.
Yep.
I am a little, we'll get into it. I'm a little disappointed in our villains, but we are getting there. We are so getting there.
There was so much in this episode.
Oh, so much in this season. So much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I loved it too. I don't have a rating particular to the overall season, but I never thought that I would be really happy about Fear the Walking Dead, and I can honestly say I am no longer hate watching it. In fact, the last 2 episodes I've actually watched, and then I took notes on my rewatch, and it was like, oh, it was so nice just to be a fan and to be a spectator.
Yes, absolutely. There's a couple of characters that I actually do miss, and one that we may get to see again because that person is not dead, as far as we know. But yeah,
Who are you talking about?
what's his name?
Oh, Ruben Blades' character.
Yes.
I think he died on the bridge.
Nope.
No?
No. I think we're gonna see him again. Dude's a cat. He's got 9 lives. He's got like 6 lives left.
Well, there was no big announcement of his departure, but I don't know. I just think he's gone. I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out.
I think I'm right.
Did you read something, or are you just springing that on me?
There has been some whispers on the deep places of the internet. I remember seeing a headline. Surprising Fear the Walking Dead character reportedly returning for season 4. And of course, he didn't return for season 4, but we left it in a place in season 4 at the end where season 5, we're going to be looking for people who are on those videotapes.
Okay, good point.
There you go.
Good point.
Okay. Now that I've convinced you all.
I won't say I'm convinced, but I'm willing to concede the point. There are probably people out there who are convinced, though.
Wouldn't that be great to bring him back, though?
It would be pretty awesome to bring him back as someone who was on Al's tapes.
Yeah. He's just, and like, the man who won't die. Fire, flood, nothing kills this guy.
And Ruben Blades is a great actor.
He is.
Well, so what was your rating for this particular episode?
So I do have to say that I didn't rate this episode particularly high for a season finale. I just wasn't feeling it as a season finale. And I think it was like I said, the villain part was very anticlimactic. So I only gave it a 3.5 pairs of dungarees.
Well, I gave it a solid A. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 poison water bottles.
Woo!
Yeah, because I really liked it.
Yeah, it was not a season finale episode. It did not meet my expectations, but at the very, very end, it gave me a lot of hope for season 5. I'm very excited about season 5, but we will also get into one of the reasons why it didn't come up there. So.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, so I do have a few numbers. Last week's episode was 10th in Live Plus 3 for the 18 to 49-year-old group. It beat out Better Call Saul, which kind of surprised me.
Wow.
And it was 25th, in Live Plus 3 overall, and it was bested by news programs primarily.
Of course.
Of course.
We had to know what it was up against.
Yeah, good point. Didn't even think about that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's been a tough week and a half for
it's been a challenging news week regardless of what side of the fence you're on.
Right. I mean, it's been pretty dominating.
I have to admit, there is news playing on the television out in the living room right now. I'm not even there to watch it, and it's playing.
Well, I do have to say, our featured cast member, if you are not an uber lefty, do not follow her on Twitter, because you will only set yourself up for disappointment and rage. So, like, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing, and that's cool, and she's a great actress. But, yeah, don't follow her on Twitter.
Is she on Insta?
She's on Insta, and her Insta is just an average Joe Insta, where she posts pictures of work and pictures of her pets and pictures of her family. So, yeah, follow her on Insta.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so our title, I Lose Myself. Obviously, it's Morgan.
Right, and it was a continuation of last week's because they did I lose people, ... and this week was ... I lose myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I really like the conversation on Talking Dead around being stuck and getting unstuck.
Yes.
And I felt like that was really kind of where those titles came from.
Well, and I also I go with the flip side of the coin. I lose people, I lose myself. I help people, I help myself.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me, I think it was Abe Lincoln is the one that's always credited in saying that I do good, I feel good. That's my religion. And so you help people, you do for others, and it makes you better and it makes you want to do better. So that the antithesis of I lose people, I lose myself is I help people, I help myself.
That definitely is reflected in the ending of this episode.
Yep. And, Clayton, a.k.a. Polar Bear, he started, himself doing it, and it will continue on with Morgan and family.
And we'll go there, because I have mixed feelings about that.
I have a lot to say about that, too, so we will go there.
So I did not spend any time on writer and director other than naming them because we've talked about them so much. So Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg were the writers, also the showrunners for this season.
Yep.
No conversation that they're not going to be the showrunners next season. And then Michael Satrazemis of The Grove was our director.
And kudos to you guys. You really turned this ship around. I like where it's headed. Yeah, I good on you.
And they tortured Morgan repeatedly, or Lenny James repeatedly on Talking Dead, which was really funny.
Why is he so averted to that name? It's like
it's the proper Brit in him, I think.
I don't know. It's like they're calling him something that's like a cute colloquialism in the U.S. and like in the U.K. it's
something
like
offensive.
Some offensive slang or something. Like, is Momo something horrible in Europe?
I don't think it is, but I thought his, here I am, you're calling me Momo, and I acted in the National Theater. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Oh, I think Momo's adorable.
Well, speaking of Momos, so how about Mo Collins, aka Sarah?
Yes. So I don't know if Momo is some sort of like British slang for something awful, but Mo Collins is our featured cast member of the week.
And she is awesome.
She is. So her real name is actually Maureen Ann Collins. And she is best known, or at least best known to me, as a character actress in comedies.
I have got to tell you, I looked through all of her stuff and I was like, once again, how did I not know this person before she got this role?
Because she's a character actress, and when you see her in something, she is not Mo Collins. She is that character.
True. I watched some of her sketches from, oh my God, what was she on? Mad TV. Oh, I watched some of her sketches from Mad TV, and I was like, oh my God, she is so funny.
Okay, so there's something on her Wikipedia, and I can't actually remember what it was, but it mentioned something related to the Carol Burnett show. And does she not remind you of Carol Burnett?
Well, definitely. So I think the character was Lorraine.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, that could totally be a Carol Burnett character.
Right? Like, I see her as a young Carol Burnett, and I absolutely love Carol Burnett. I love the Carol Burnett show. I'm a little young to have caught it live, but I caught up in Nick at Night. So, yeah, she's amazing as a character actress and a comedian, and just, she's been in so much. She started acting in 1996 in Jingle All the Way.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't remember, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and, Tom something. Roseanne Barr's ex-wife.
Tom Arnold. Roseanne Barr's ex-wife.
I did not just say that, did I?
Yes, you did. That was hilarious. It's even more hilarious that it was a Freudian slip and not intentional.
That was so awesome. Leave it in.
To do anything else would imply that I actually edit.
Right. Right. She's been in so much as a one-off character. She's that person that, like, when she came on Fear the Walking Dead and we all took notice of her, we all went, where do I know her from? Right?
Well, so I just made a list of things that I recognized, and it was probably a fourth to a third of the stuff in her IMDb, and it's stuff like Family Guy, King of the Hill as voice, Parks and Rec, Californication, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, 6 Feet Under, which was one of my favorite shows. She just had a one-off on that.
She's a one-off on everything. Like, her IMDb is
I did not see any Law and Order, though.
Oh, nope, no Law and Order. Nope. Though I could see her doing... So there was a great Law and Order where Kathy Griffin sort of trolled herself. She played kind of herself, but heightened, if you can imagine that.
That's terrifying.
But I could totally see Mo Collins kind of... Because she's such a comedian, and she does great in kind of a serious role in Fear the Walking Dead. She's still a little bit of a comedian. I could totally see Mo Collins kind of playing, like, maybe, I don't know, an Ann Coulter, only, like, crazier. Like, I could see her doing something just completely stand out on a Law and Order. So I really think that they need to call her for that.
They don't need to call her for the next several seasons, though, because, damn it, if we lose Sarah...
Right? Yeah. Loving Sarah. So, I don't remember her in these, but she was in Ally McBeal. She was in Just Shoot Me. She was in... Did we know that Gina Davis had a show?
Oh, I vaguely remember that only because my husband is obsessed with Gina Davis.
Yeah, it was probably on at the same time as like the Arsenio Hall show on a different channel. Yeah. She had
I think it was actually a sitcom, but it was called the Gina Davis Show. I think it was actually fictionalized.
Okay. So she was on a couple of episodes of Arrested Development, Seventh Heaven, Joey. Let's see. Yeah, you said Knocked Up. I actually kind of remember her character in Knocked Up. Voiced for King of the Hill. God, she has been in a little bit of everything. So she is also going to play, if you can believe this, a bit part in a show called Dream Corp LLC, or she did. Look like the air date is 2016 to whenever. She plays Patient 30. And it says 2016, but it's also on her IMDb profile after Fear the Walking Dead. So I don't know if they haven't released it yet or what's going on, but an absurd workplace comedy set in a neglected dream therapy facility where a rotating cast of desperate patients have their dreams recorded and analyzed by Dream Corp's absent-minded professor. I would love to see what her dreams are.
That sounds really interesting.
It does. It almost sounds like Black Mirror without the horribly depressing ending.
Which I have not watched Black Mirror, so I don't know the horribly depressing ending, and it sounds like it's a good thing. I don't need to be depressed.
Like, they're just so true to life. I love Black Mirror, and anyone who follows Black Mirror, the next season is supposed to have a choose your own adventure, which is going to be amazing.
How are they going to do that?
So actually one of the, God, what is that movie where all the people always die?
Oh, like Final Fantasy.
Final Destination.
Final Destination, okay.
Yes, like Final Destination, at least on the DVD version, and I'm sure they can probably do this through Netflix somehow. You get to choose whether you're the person goes left or right, or gets on the ride, or doesn't get on the ride. And you have all different scenarios that affect how your story ends. Of course, choose your own adventure. So yeah, side tangent, I absolutely love Black Mirror. And maybe Mo Collins should do an episode of Black Mirror.
So I just wanted to say a couple of other things. She is a badass cancer survivor.
Yes.
She had a rare GI cancer called a gastrointestinal stromal tumor that was diagnosed in 2011. So she's been in remission for 7 years.
Oh, that just sounds awful.
Yeah. She talks about it on Talking Dead, which is how I knew.
I have acid reflux and I think that I'm dying. But did you see that her husband was the one that encouraged her to... She had a lump on her tummy.
And she was like, whatever.
Yeah, and her husband encouraged her to go get it checked out. Good for him.
Yeah. So I found out that she played in the World Poker Tour.
What?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So she had 357 titles, and her rank was her current rank on the World Poker Tour, and so I don't know if she still plays, was 11,360. And I'm only laughing because that's probably very terribly ranked, but I would be 6,009,995,000.
I was going to say, before I laugh at her for being ranked 11,000 or whatever, how many people play competitive poker? It's probably millions.
Mm-hmm.
I could see her, if you're 11,000 out of a million, you're doing awesome.
There you go. That was exactly my thought.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have no idea about competitive poker, but that's amazing. And I can totally see that.
I can see that too. She probably has a great poker face.
Yeah. Like I said, I've checked out her Insta and her Twitter. If you do not lean left, don't follow her on Twitter because I'll put it this way, she retweets Alyssa Milano a lot. So if you know what that means, don't follow her. If you don't know what that means, you're not on Twitter, so don't worry about it. And if you like that, follow her on Twitter. She's the Mo Collins. And on Insta, she is that Mo Collins. And she posts awesome pictures from the set. She posts pictures with her husband. And she posts pictures of her adorable cats, Scully and Dusty.
Oh, I love it.
And her pit bull, Charlotte. And she did have another, what looked like a pit bull mix named Hobart, who died. So sad face for that. But 13 good long years. So she also posts pictures of other rescue pit bulls that people should go adopt if they are in that area. So she is a fan of the pit bull.
Right on. I am a fan of the pit bull too. So
I am as well. They are great dogs. They are.
Okay, I just followed her on Instagram. I'll probably go find her on Twitter as well. But
yeah, I did follow her on Insta, but I haven't followed her on Twitter yet. I probably will go do that.
There is an awesome picture of Betty Buckley on Instagram for those of us who are Preacher fans as well.
All of Betty Buckley's pictures on Instagram are awesome.
She's pretty awesome.
I have to tell you, I'm watching the very last season of Big Brother UK. They're ending Big Brother and Celebrity Big Brother in the UK, at least on Channel 5. It may get picked up someplace else. I don't know. But I have to tell you that there is a guy in the BB UK house that looks just like Humperdoo.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Every time I see him, all I can think is Humperdoo.
And for anyone who doesn't know who Humperdoo is, you seriously need to watch Preacher.
You seriously need to watch Preacher, and then you need to binge the word, the good news, the word according to AMC.
The gospel according to AMC's Preacher. The podcast that Marnell works on that she doesn't know the name to.
It is the tongue twister.
Well, so here's the deal. I wanted it to be the word, but apparently some religious group had that already. So we couldn't get it.
Oh, listen to your howler monkeys.
I know.
What are they baying at?
Oh, they're just glad that it's not snowing yet.
I love when they sing. They're adorbs. So yeah, Mo Collins, amazing comedic actress, and she is showing her dramatic chops in Fear the Walking Dead, and let's hope she is a survivor as she is in real life.
Right on.
Yeah. So, are we headed into Whisperer's Corner?
I think we're headed into Whisperer's Corner. I've got some stuff, and it sounds like you've got some stuff too. And you made my night!
Yes. So, Diane, how did I make your night with Whisperer's Corner?
So, Marnell told me that Emily Kinney has a new album out, and she does, and it's called, let me get into my iTunes, Oh, Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan.
So,
yeah.
I am totally going to be listening that into the ground over the next several days.
So, and of course, just as a reminder, Emily Kinney played Beth on Walking Dead Prime, and she is an amazing actress, singer, songwriter. You guys should follow her.
I really love her. She's like cutesy with an edge.
Yes.
And she does the most beautiful remake of a Tom Waits song. So... I wish that was on her album. And I wish she would get rights to that and do that.
I begrudgingly admit that I actually have not listened to any Emily Kinney music, which I'm going to remedy that. Toot sweet.
I have all of her albums.
I just love this part. In Cleveland.com has an article about her newly released album, Oh, Jonathan. And I love that it says, in case you are wondering, the guy's name really is Jonathan. But Kenny insists her album isn't in the same vein as, say, Taylor Swift.
Oh, that's funny.
That right there. Like, I love Taylor Swift and I love her breakup music and everything. But that right there, I'm just like, okay, I really want to go listen to this album now.
So probably I obviously haven't listened to the new album yet. But my favorite album of hers, and I'm totally blanking on the name, I'm going to have to download the name, is an album called... it's got this song, Be Good, that she did in Walking Dead. It's called Expired Love, and I just love it.
Ooh!
So, the album Expired Love, and this is Be Good. So she played part of this song for Daryl in one of the episodes in the not the mausoleum, the Undertaker's house.
Oh.
So
yeah.
Totally love her.
Yep, that totally appeals to the girl who never went to Lilith Fair in me.
So I can't speak for the new album. Like I said, I'm going to listen it to the ground, but I would recommend downloading Expired Love and listening that one into the ground as well. Any of her albums, really.
I'm so glad I made your night.
Oh my God, you cannot imagine how much I needed it. I was telling Marnell I'm totally done with the whole in sickness and in health thing because my husband is on crutches again. So I needed Emily Kinney. You cannot imagine.
You're like, I'm okay with the in sickness part as long as at some point we will be in health.
Right. We're not there yet. It's been a hellish 3 years.
Oy.
So what else you got besides making my night with Emily Kinney?
So, we have had this great thing this season with Fear the Walking Dead with our intro credits, right?
Right.
We've all been looking at like cool little differences in the intro credits that relate to the show that we're about to see.
And this one had what? It had
the factory, the denim factory.
Okay, that I couldn't tell if it was the factory or if it was the truck stop.
No, I believe it was the factory.
Okay.
So, as of 6 hours ago on uprocks.com, showrunner Angela Kang advises the Walking Dead fans to pay close attention to the new opening credits.
It sounds like she has totally revamped the opening credits.
Yes, I'm so excited. Because, in the beginning, we've all been watching the Walking Dead, the title of it, deteriorate. If you've noticed over season 1.
And there have been little changes.
Right.
As
and
we've
so
lost cast and gained cast. And
Yes. So I think they're going to incorporate a little more of those changes and hints to the episode and the Walking Dead world overall
cool.
into the title, the opening credits. So I'm very, very excited about that. I love it. It's a great shtick. It keeps me paying attention. Yeah. So good on them.
So she said it's going to change bit by bit with each episode?
You had to put me on the spot and ask me that question. Yes, I assume it does. Just lie with certainty and everyone will believe you.
Totally. It works every time.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
So I'm excited, of course, about our upcoming premiere of The Walking Dead. And I did a little bit of looking just to see what I could find. And first, I just want to say Father Gabriel looks totally creepy.
Really?
He actually looks like the old man from The Exorcist. Or not The Exorcist, from Poltergeist, excuse me.
Oh my God.
He looks
gives me nightmares.
so creepy. He's going to give you nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm actually getting chills going up my spine just thinking about it.
I have been derelict and I have not been watching any of the upcoming stuff since like that super long teaser trailer that I had to like stop in the middle of and get a snack because it was so long. And I know
the stuff that they put on Talking Dead was very short, and it was just kind of a preview of them going to Washington, D.C., which I assume happens in the premiere.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
So the other stuff... Oh, go ahead.
I can't wait. Go ahead.
So the other stuff that I have is, it sounds like they are implying that so an article that I read implied that the time jump is actually several years, quote, several years from All Out War. Yes. So it's a big time jump.
I did see that. And I am excited. It looks like we have stopped for the most part, maybe sans Daryl's, motorcycle. It looks like we've stopped using cars, and I know that's a big thing with me and a lot of us who are like,
so it's funny that you bring that up because that's definitely one of the things that Phil and I talked about last episode.
Oh, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yes.
And talked about how it's got to be time to give up the gas.
Yep.
And it sounds like they're really, it looks like they're really going to move toward that in the new season of Walking Dead.
I mean, absolutely. Do not get me wrong. You could keep a few vehicles running. I am sure, especially with somebody like Eugene in your crew, you could keep some stuff running, but not like, oh, there's a car on the side of the road. I'm just going to hotwire it and it's going to work. No, that's not real. That's not happening.
Like last episode on Fear. Let's be honest. Some of the other stuff that I read. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan says that Rick Grimes gets a quote good exit, and that losing him is a quote hard deal. Angela Kang actually said that Andrew Lincoln gave them like really adequate warning, and his exit had been discussed for a long time before they moved into writing things.
Yeah,
so they really had time.
I heard he had actually wanted to leave in season 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this was a stretch for him for 9. And then, of course, Maggie is going away. I don't know if we are completely losing her, like she's going to die or anything, but I think
they're leaving the door open so she can come back next season. That was one of the things that Phil and I talked about a little bit last week, too.
Which I think is really great. I think, unless it's like I think Carl probably had to die because I think in real life he's going to go off to college and there wasn't really a way for him to be like, oh, I'm going to go explore the world like Morgan, he's some like 15, 16-year-old kid in the show. They're not going to let him. Rick, I don't know if they would really let him just like jaunt off on his own, but Maggie, I definitely could see her like being like, I'm going to take a back seat, whether it's I'm going to stay in some like remote satellite location that we don't visit too often for the main show, or if she goes out on her own at all. But I can totally see that.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with her character, and I hope we don't lose her because there's so much more story, but there's so much more story for Rick and there was for Carl. So
yeah,
they're really taking a hard step away from the comic books.
Definitely.
While continuing to do some of the things that were a big part of the comic books in the time after All Out War.
I think the comic books have served as a roadmap, and now they're just a map. There are several roads on that map that we could take. It's not the one that we've been on. It's not the one the books follow, but it's definitely a set course. We just don't know how we're getting there.
Right.
Yeah.
The Whisperers. We're getting the Whisperers this season. We just don't know what all is going to happen with them. Right.
At this point, anything could happen. Like, the Whisperers could turn out to be good guys. Like, you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Well, the other thing that I will say is they talked in one of the interviews that I read, and I think it was the one that Angela Kang talked in, about how a lot of the season is going to be about coping with the aftermath of what she called a Rickless world. And there are going to be major arcs for Carol, Daryl, and Michonne.
Oh, and then you said Rickless world.
I know where your brain went.
We all went there, but then my Negan brain went Prickless world. And I didn't hear anything you said after that, because then I saw Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who I am watching on The Good Wife, the last season of The Good Wife. Oh my God, he is Negan without the
bat.
Yeah, pretty
without
much.
The jacket.
Like, he has like this jacket that looks like Negan. He doesn't have the scarf or the bat. Like, that's it. He is Negan on this last episode of Good Wife. If you've not watched, you should. For the non-Negan alone, like, I so am enjoying having already seen him as Negan, going back and watching him as this like super cocky, arrogant, like non-Negan guy in Not the Apocalypse.
I love that. Super arrogant non-Negan guy in Not the Apocalypse. That's going to be part of his IMDb profile from now on. I think you need to go edit his Wikipedia page stat.
Oh, if I only knew how to do that.
I do more things than vandalize Jeffrey Dean Morgan's page.
Right?
So anything else for Whisperer's Corner?
I don't think so. I think that was it.
Then give me your good.
My good was Jimbo. We lost him a couple of episodes ago. Last episode? I don't know. It's weird not having podcasted the last episode.
Yeah.
But he was still with us in this episode in body and spirit.
Augie's Ales.
Yes. He made an appearance with Martha, and, we kind of got to see him then. And then he kind of saved the day at the end. And so he was with us in body and spirit. And I really think that he was a great character and that he should have continued on. I know we have to kill people,
It is the zombie apocalypse.
We're killing strangers, so we don't kill the ones we love. Still love that song, Marilyn Manson.
We're killing the ones that we love a little less so we can keep the ones we really love.
It's on the John Wick soundtrack if anyone's looking for it. It's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really loving that we still got to see Jimbo this last episode. His presence was still there. We got the beer, and I wasn't really ready to lose him. I'm really upset that he blamed Morgan for his bite, But then he did what I said he was going to do, and he made the self-sacrifice for everyone else's benefit. And here he was again in the episode, and Morgan finally got to put him down proper. And
even closed his eyes.
Yep. And he got a proper burial, and then he got a toast send off. So that kind of like gave me a little, I almost had the feels. So, but then I took my medication in liquid form so that I didn't die of antifreeze poisoning, and I shoved those feelings back down with Avalon.
And how big is your glass of wine tonight?
It's tiny, but if I do the Venom movie review this weekend, I have a glass that I could fit like 2 or 3 cats in.
You totally need to do the Venom movie review this weekend.
Oh my God.
If I were going to be available, I would totally do it.
So for those of you, if this probably won't be posted by that time, but Capes and Lunatics is doing a movie review club this weekend for Venom, and you should be able to, if you don't catch it live, you can catch up and watch it on the Capes and Lunatics YouTube, and you get to see us all, Phil and Charlie and Lilith Hellfire, and hopefully me, probably not Diane.
I'm working.
But I have this great sight gag where every time I do one of the movie club movie reviews, my wine glass gets bigger and bigger. And I specifically went out and bought this gargantuan wine glass. So, yeah.
So now you have to do it because you've completely spoiled it if you don't do it for next time.
Yeah, it's true.
Because Phil listens.
It's a sight gag. It'll always be fun. I can't exactly do my sight gag on my podcast. I have to do it on the video cast.
Well, and yours truly was not able to video cast because I had problems yet again with Google Hangouts. I think it's just not a Mac-friendly product. So...
Oh, there's your first problem.
Well, you know, there are times that I'm kind of like, why did I do this?
And now you're like, I'm too old to move on.
Right.
Like, all of us who are, like, Android are like, ugh, I just can't be bothered with iTunes.
Oh, I love my iPhone. It's just, there are times that the Mac notebook is not very friendly to other programs.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry, we're getting a dog. I'm not sure exactly who's distraught about what. It could be the foster, who I'm trying not to foster fail. So...
If you are unsure about whether or not your family is ready for a dog, foster a dog or a cat, and you will probably fall in love with them and keep them, or they can move on to another foster home.
That is the danger of being a foster home, is that you foster fail and end up keeping them.
It's tough. Like, people are like, how do you do it? Like, how do you let the animal go? And then, like, I'm Instagram friends with a lot of people who have adopted the dogs that I have fostered, and they go on to lead the most amazing lives. Like, they climb mountains, and they tussle with porcupines, and don't learn my wrestling, and do it 3 or 4 times again. But the picture of their heads full of quills at the vet is always, like, them super happy. Like,
I don't know. I've seen some pretty grim ones.
I look like Hellraiser.
Not on your Instagram, but some pretty grim ones.
I look like Hellraiser, but I'm living my best life. Yeah, so foster dog or cat. It's amazing. And Diane has a new foster, and actually I didn't recognize the bark, so I'm going to call that your little foster.
Yeah, she's pretty cute. She's tiny, but she's got a huge bark.
Oh, don't they all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, am I good?
Yes, you're good.
No death! No death!
I beg to differ.
Well, I mean, we lost Jim and we lost Martha, but we didn't lose any of our main characters.
Okay.
And I was totally anticipating and, like, fearing. I was pretty sure that Morgan was going to go down at one point or another. I was actually really concerned after a conversation with Thomas O'Mara that maybe we were going to lose June.
Okay.
I'm so glad.
For a second there, when they were all, like, laying around the flip-flop truck stop,
right,
and, like, dying, I'm like, oh, did we talk too much smack and now they're just gonna kill everyone at the end of every season? Yeah, we're just gonna start fresh with an all new cast every season.
We'll keep one person. This time it's Morgan.
Yeah. For a second there, I really thought that at least one or two of them were gonna die.
Well, I guess kind of, I don't follow her on Twitter. I think it was a Twitter and not an Instagram post. But Thomas O'Mara was saying that Jenna Elfman's Twitter, I want to again say Twitter and not Instagram, was pretty much like, I'm so glad to have had this experience. This was so great. Almost like a peace out kind of.
I love it.
And I was like, oh no, because Thomas was like, I think she's a goner.
Oh, I love it.
So I was so glad that she did not die.
Yeah, that's amazing. I specifically was, because I didn't even watch the last week's episode until like I got back on Friday, but I didn't watch it till like Monday or something. So like every time like Fear the Walking Dead came up on my Twitter moments or whatever, I was like, nope, and I scrolled all the way past it.
Not today.
Nope, no spoilers for this chick. Yeah. Yeah, no death.
Yeah, so that was my good. It was actually really nice to not have a big tragic ending.
Yeah. Yeah, or lose a main character or anything like that. Definitely. We ended with hope.
So what was your bad?
My bad was Martha.
Okay, tell me.
So, like I was saying, the Walking Dead Prime has had this roadmap forever of this is where we're going, this is how things are, these are our bad guys, this is what's going on, here's who dies. Sometimes that doesn't always work out. We kill somebody else in their place and that person takes over for them. You know, it should have been Andrea instead of Michonne with Rick. Yeah, I mean, just little things that kind of weave together. But we've had this roadmap. So here we have Fear the Walking Dead. We could do anything. Like, our bad guys could be anyone. They could be crazy. They could be sociopaths where they blend in with our crew and kill them from within. Like we could do anything. And I really, really thought that Martha was very underutilized. I did not like how they ended her so quickly and tied her up all in a neat little box. I really think that her character was just a lot more complex and that we could have continued on. You know, I mean...
And she had some super scary moments, like when she pops her head up in the back of the police car and she's like, where are you taking me?
She was very scary. But I mean, no scarier than Morgan in Clear. You know, I mean, she just went crazy because she lost the people that she had loved.
Oh, you know what's really funny? I don't think Morgan in Clear was scary because it was truly... This is our Morgan, and he is going through a tough time. I think the difference is we already knew Morgan.
Right. And I think if we had known Martha, we would have been a little bit more sympathetic and a little more willing to work with her. And Negan is a really bad guy. He should have died. Somebody should have just put a bullet in him and ended him. No good can come from this. In my opinion, I think we're going to see differently, but whatever.
I don't know. I think we might not. I think it might be no good comes from this.
But we're keeping him around, and I really think that Martha could have gone in that same vein where, like, we kept her around. I think that we could have strung this out and got a little more psychology out of it, a little more something out of it. You know, it can't all just be, you know, I just want to watch the world burn and I'm crazy. Like, she wasn't that way before. It was her husband's death and people not helping her, and then her being on her own. And I really think that I see a lot of parallels with her and Morgan where, you know, his wife died, his son died, and then he was all alone. but then he was able to reintegrate. I really think that, there are second chances. You don't always have to be the bad guy you were yesterday tomorrow.
Do you think there's a second chance for someone who killed people the way she killed people, though? I mean, Morgan's big thing was he was clearing walkers. He wasn't killing people.
True. But, look at what they were doing at the Savior compound.
Right.
I mean, they were burning people's faces off. And a lot of those people are going to get a second chance.
True.
So,
Very true.
You don't get to where you are at this point in the zombie apocalypse without having done things that you want to make amends for. It's Luciana, Strand.
Right. I thought we'd have more time. I thought I would get a second chance.
Yeah. All of these people thought that, I've done these horrible things I need to make up for. And, I just, I'm such a lefty. There's always a second chance.
I'm such a lefty too, but I don't know that there's always a second chance.
Not always. I mean, I'm not saying like Jeffrey Dahmer should have ever gotten parole, or Ted Bundy should have ran a daycare, or like there are definite caveats to my plan, but I am a big believer in that. Just because you did something bad yesterday doesn't mean that you are going to do something bad tomorrow. It was a different time then. So, yeah. I was really disappointed in losing Martha in the way that we did, and that I really thought that her character had more to give. That was my bad.
I definitely think also, I did not have that in my list of things, but I think that the actress had more to give too. She was really great.
Oh, she was a great actress. Yeah. Yep. So what was your bad?
Well, it was relatively small, and it comes from a conversation that I had with Thomas O'Mara after finishing watching the episode. But the holes in the ethanol truck, how come they couldn't just put their buckets underneath the leaking holes and catch the ethanol?
That came up in my household too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
Those holes were small. That truck was ginormous. It wasn't going to drain that fast.
And those of you who were laying pretty much underneath the ethanol truck, just roll
Open
over
your
in
mouths.
mouth. Yeah. So, you're licensed nurse practitioner? Is that what you're called in the state?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
That essentially, yeah. Without getting into the finer points of titling, yes.
Yeah. It's like state by state. Sometimes it's different.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, alcohol really is the reversal agent for antifreeze poisoning.
Yes, and it can be ingested. It does not have to be administered intravenously, correct?
Correct.
That was a debate that happened in my household last night because I am not a medical professional, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express all last week. Just kidding. It was like a Hilton or something. But I do watch the show House. And there was an episode with antifreeze poisoning, and House took in some like vodka or something and did shots with the guy.
So
and
when I lived in Seward, we had someone who tried to overdose on antifreeze, and the remedy was sending one of the staff out to get alcohol from the local liquor store.
Okay, so it is just shots.
So it was legit having them drink that beer at the end of the episode.
Would beer have done it? Because I thought it was
It doesn't have a very high alcohol content, so I'm not sure. I don't know the finer points of treating antifreeze poisoning. I would honestly be hard-pressed to look it up and figure it out if I were presented with a case. But
Dr. Google was saying clear alcohols like vodka or Everclear.
Yeah, vodka is what we used in the ER.
But it can be ingested.
Yes.
And I was looking at the same thing for animal ingestion. So cat or dogs getting into the antifreeze, you can give them...
Really?
Yeah.
Cheaper than a vet, but not as surefire.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. And like the cat ingestion, you had to get with them like within 3 hours of ingestion.
Oh my God, could you imagine trying to pump vodka down your cat's throat? No, thank you.
Oh. the kitty burrito, like you seriously have to wrap
Right.
them up in a blanket and hold them and just inject it into their mouth.
Both of those cases are definitely a case where the vet and an IV makes a lot more sense.
No, seriously, my dogs, all they have to know is like either canned chicken or canned tuna comes with it, and they're good.
That's funny.
Well, they get supplements because one of my dog has an autoimmune disease, and so he gets 2 supplements on top of what used to be a half a can of tuna, and of course the other dog has to get it too, even though hers is just tuna without the supplements. But I was getting concerned about mercury levels in a half a can of tuna 7 days a week. Like, I'm like, it's probably a little too much mercury than I want to have my dogs ingesting.
That's hilarious.
So I switched to canned chicken. So like at 5:30, when that alarm goes off in this house, Pavlov was right.
I always say there's a reason Pavlov used dogs.
Yes, like that bell goes off and they're like sitting on their beds like, we're ready.
That's awesome. Ours is not nearly that civilized when feeding time rolls around.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen it.
Yep. It's like herding cats.
Yeah.
No, but dogs, I think theirs can be administered like 8 to 12 hours from the time of ingestion or symptoms exhibiting, the initial symptoms exhibiting. But I like, because we saw Martha filling the water bottles in the side of the road with water, stagnant water that probably had like Giardia or dysentery or something in it. And so that's what I thought. And I was like, wouldn't you see that in the bottles of water? You'd see like the silty bottom or the murkiness of the water. And then I was like, okay, so wouldn't you taste the antifreeze?
But they totally telegraphed it. Did you catch it?
Yes, on
my second watch.
Yeah.
When Sarah says, I told Wendell to lay off the sweetener.
Yes. And then right after that, they show Al pouring coolant into the SWAT van.
Oh, I totally didn't put that together. It was the sweetener thing because it's supposed to taste very, very, very sweet.
Yes.
Which is why dogs like it so much.
Yes. And now a lot of brands put bitterant in it to keep people and animals from drinking it. So the most common victims of poisoning
are probably children and dogs.
No, adult males.
Really?
So here's the thing. There is some biker gang, and I cannot remember which one. Part of their initiation is basically doing antifreeze and vodka shots all night.
That is insane.
Well, it's a biker gang. Not all biker gangs are like that, but there are some out there that are. And I guess if you survive the night of antifreeze and green alcohol, you're in.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yep. You'll need a liver transplant, but whatever.
What did Strand say? Just when I finally stopped trying to drink myself to death, I succeeded.
I love that. I actually wrote that down. That was amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That was my bad. So do you have a good ugly or a bad ugly?
I had an obvious ugly.
Oh, well, that doesn't mean it's good or bad.
I don't know if it's
I
good
shouldn't
or bad.
be so binary. It doesn't have to be good or bad. It can just be an ugly.
Yeah, kind of like your foster dog is not male or female.
Well, I'm no vet, but she checks out as female to me, although the vet wrote male on all of the paperwork.
Yeah, so you know what? We're just not intrusive like that, and that
right.
the dog can choose for itself.
Right.
When it wants you to know, if it decides on a gender, it will let you know. I have had plenty of girl dogs who lifted their legs to pee.
As have I.
Right? Plenty of boy dogs that squatted.
Yep.
Okay,
so back to your non-binary ugly.
My ugly was Alexandria. Show of hands.
Alexandria.
Show of hands. Who actually thought that they were going to Alexandria this season?
Okay, I thought, show of hands, at least part of this crew was going to end up in Alexandria, back with Morgan.
But we have already shot the next season for Walking Dead Prime, and they're all in Alexandria, and none of these cast members were there for shooting, and we've took a 2-year time jump, so it obviously is going to take us longer than 2 years to get to Alexandria.
So where were you with these arguments when we were talking about it last time we podcasted?
I was in a blue box with a man who called himself the Doctor.
That
and
wibbly wobbly thing?
Yeah, the wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing. I sort of figured it out. We couldn't go to Alexandria, Fear the Walking Dead, this season because we are already 2 years ahead now. We were concurrent at the end, but now we are 2 years ahead. So Fear the Walking Dead is either going to have to hang out someplace other than Alexandria for a couple of years, or Fear the Walking Dead is going to have to take another massive time jump in order to catch up with Walking Dead Prime and join up with the show. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yup.
It was pretty... I was shocked.
You know, it wasn't as impressive as my season 1, this is how long it takes to walk from Alexandria to Texas and how long an eggplant has to grow. And it wasn't quite as impressive as that math, but none of us are going to Alexandria, and like we couldn't have unless we took a time jump. So we are going to hang out at the denim factory, and we are going to help people, and it is going to turn out horribly, and I'm going to love watching it.
I love it. And it is going to turn out horribly.
Which will eventually send us to Alexandria or wherever the Walking Dead universe takes us over the next 10 years. Because apparently that's how much material they are working on. It's 10 years worth of Walking Dead universe.
Girl, like I said, I'm going to be like, I got my walker in the podcast room. Hang on.
I am so excited. They have already done Mexico. They have done the U.S. I really think that they should come north for frozen zombies. I'm okay if they move to Europe for some walkers with some accents, but still speak English.
But ultimately, they have to end up in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's where the apocalypse, that's where we all survive.
That's where the rubber meets the road, man.
Yeah. Low population, lots of food to eat, water. It's good here. High ground. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, unless we're going by Mira Grant rules and any mammal over 30 pounds has zombie virus.
Nope, they can't spring that on us this late in the series.
Yeah, no. Like moose and bear with the zombie virus and sea lion? Oh my god. Those things are awful to begin with.
They're awesome to watch.
They are, from afar. Like moose. When I was in Oklahoma, like I was the token Alaskan. Because of course I have a husky, and then I have a duck dog. You know, she loves to rouse birds and retrieve birds and stuff. Even when I don't want her to, at babies out of nests. We won't go there. So I had traveled the furthest for this training, and so I was like, you know, none of these people had like, you know, Alaska was the little you know, island in the Gulf of Mexico on the weather map for them. And so I regaled them with tales of like my dog treeing a bear at 2 a.m. the other morning, and it's no big deal. Or, you know, running nose to nose with a bear on a trail. And it's like, bears don't scare us. Like bears, of course, up there they do, because you guys apparently have bear maulings.
Well, you had one in your neck of the woods pretty recently, and you had a bear in the hospital.
Yes, we did have a bear in our hospital walking down the corridors of our ER. Yeah, that was super interesting. And then we had a bear fatally maul a guy on Admiralty Island, which houses one of our, I think, silver mines. I think they're mining silver right now.
I was going to say, I can't remember what they mine.
Yeah. So, and strangely enough, he was a guy from Oklahoma. So weird.
Oh, right.
I know.
Synchronicity.
The universe is so weird.
Yeah.
So, moose are the stuff that scare us Alaskan.
I had one run out in front of me this morning when I was driving to work.
They're super mean. They have no fear. They will kick and stomp you to death for, like, looking at them funny.
But they're only super mean if they're triggered.
Oh, anything triggered.
It's not quite true. I've had plenty that I have not had to run from, but would I want to meet up with one? No.
I always remember the guy that was trying to get into the front of the University of Fairbanks. And
no,
it was like,
it was actually University of Alaska Anchorage. I was there when it happened, and that animal had been teased and taunted by a bunch of students prior to that person getting trampled.
This poor guy was trying to give this thing a wide berth, but still get in the front door, and that moose was just not having it anymore.
But that animal had totally been taunted.
Yeah, don't taunt wild animals. It never
Right.
turns out good. But no, I was telling like all the Lyft drivers that I rode with, I was like, no, bear are fine. It's fine. They're fine. I'm like, bugs? We don't have crazy bugs in Juneau. You guys are in Alaska primarily.
We have mosquitoes that are bigger than helicopters.
Yeah, but they're just mosquitoes. Like, we don't have like brown recluses that will bite you and make your skin fall off.
That's
like,
fair.
That's just not a thing here. I mean, anything that's going to bite you and cause you damage, you can see coming. It's not waiting for you under the covers. So, yes, they need to do a Walking Dead Frozen North.
That's going to be the title, and you're going to be the consultant.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I can't wait to find out if zombies reanimate in spring. I'm dying.
I think they must. They're just really messy and awful.
Yeah. They're like extra desiccated.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So do I get my ugly?
Sure.
It was a bad ugly. Now, I rated it higher than you, and I had, I think, at least an equivalent number of bads. And it was a little bit of math, too, although I didn't work the math out. The timing of Martha's story was a little messed up. So she says that her husband died at the beginning of everything, like when it all started happening. So I just want to know, how did a lone psychotic woman last for so long? Because she had to have been on her own and like wandering psychotic for 3 years.
And like messing with all of these walkers on poles.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they didn't totally think the timing through.
Okay, so I get the survival on your own. I actually think it would be easier to survive on I think the more people you get into a group, the harder it is to survive.
Well, unless you're fighting a group of walkers, then you're covering each other from all angles.
Yeah, but you're relying on somebody else to hold up their end of you. And you get yourself into those situations. If you're just a lone person, you're totally, on your own to go left or right. That was one of the things that drove me nuts this episode, is when Al was being chased through the alley and those one walkers. She could have sprinted past that group that was feeding off of something, and they would have been none the wiser, with her like 20 feet ahead. Or she could have gone down like that alley that was there. I mean, there was a whole bunch of decisions she could have made. She didn't have to worry about anybody but herself. So I think it kind of is sometimes easier to survive on your own than it is when you pair up or group up. But Martha was psychotic. She should not have been keeping walkers on sticks and chains and stuff that, yeah.
Yeah, I just think they didn't think it out.
No.
So that was my bad.
I think her ultimate
ugly
goal was eventually to become a zombie.
Well, she equated that to being strong. And when did she, or why did she equate that to being strong? Because they just keep going no matter what?
I think so. And they don't need anybody's help.
Yeah.
Her big yah-yah was nobody should get any help. Yeah.
Well, I want to do some callbacks. So I felt like now we're in Rotting Potpourri, by the way. I felt like Al in her armored vest was a callback to Glenn. The cop car was a callback to Rick, season 1, in his cop car.
Yep.
I felt like, once again, all of those hospital shots and kind of those alley shots, those were really all callbacks to season 1 and Atlanta. Mm-hmm. It was visually really good. And I think part of that was because Michael Satrazemis was working on it.
Interesting. For some reason, anytime that we have a working facility like that has running water and showers, for me, it's a callback to Rick's police station.
Right? When Morgan and Dwayne are like, hot water!
Yep. So, and it dawned on me, it was mentioned to me, but it dawned on me, they used the bottled water to brew the coffee.
They did, which is why they got so sick.
Right, when they had running water in the place.
And it makes me wonder why they made that decision, but it wouldn't have moved the plot forward if they had not made that decision. So,
and wouldn't you have noticed broken seal on a water bottle? I don't know that I have before. I've gone to open something and I've noticed that the seal is broken and I have taken it back. But I don't know. You're exhausted. You get in there and it's like, okay, the seal is broken. Maybe it was just refilled, Why waste a bottle, What crazy person is going to refill it with something terrible? And the only reason why they didn't notice first off is because they all drank the coffee. On the rewatch, I made it a point to be like, how could nobody have noticed either the sweetness of antifreeze or the bitterant that they put in antifreeze?
So did Charlie drink the coffee too, or did Charlie get it through the water?
No, she drank the coffee too. Everyone had a coffee pound.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Coffee pounding little kid.
Well, she was drinking beer by the end of it.
It's just a one-time thing, man.
Don't get poisoned again until you're 21.
Right.
There's no rules in the zombie apocalypse. 21. Yeah.
There was so much. I feel like we could go on and on and on, and we kind of have, but...
So, Al dying, sitting in her little corner, watching her videotapes.
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty emotional. There was a scene with a woman and 2 children, and then there was a scene with a man with an infant. Those people seemed like they mean something extra to her.
Well, I kind of wondered if maybe they didn't, but then when she said that, like, all of those people were still out there, I was a little confused about that.
Do you think somebody that she loves is on those videotapes and is still alive, or is somebody on those videotapes and they're dead?
That's what I was thinking.
Is she just super emotional about her human interest piece?
No, I was thinking that someone that she cared about was on those tapes and was gone.
Okay. I couldn't decide. And then in the end, it was her idea to start looking for the people on these tapes who were pretty desperate and needed help. So, I think she's become very invested in these people's stories.
I would imagine it's hard not to be. I mean, when you hear someone's story, you develop a relationship with them.
Yeah. Yep.
What else? So I was a little bit put off by the synchronicity of her being the one who found the news van and got a new video camera. But at the same time, I had just listened to a thing on NPR all about coincidences and all about synchronicity. So it was really interesting to kind of think about all of those coincidences that really do happen and all of that synchronicity that we all do experience.
So here's the thing. you will find what you are looking for because you were looking for it. You know?
Does
No,
that really hold true with a news van in the zombie apocalypse, though?
there's going to be a lot of news vans around the zombie apocalypse, I would imagine. You know?
Would anyone else have noticed it or cared? Probably not.
Right. No, just her. I think she has an eye for it. It's sort of, I was, the true crime podcast, one of the true crime podcasts I listened to, I think it was Serial. They were saying that, talking about how whenever they have like a missing child or something and they're like, be on the lookout for a green Jeep. You see nothing but green Jeeps. They will get so many calls about green Jeeps. Seriously, the next time you drive anywhere of a significant distance, watch for green Jeeps. They're all over, as are like blue Pontiac Sunfires, or, like, if it is ingrained in your head to look for something, you will find it.
I think there's truth to that. I also think there are still tremendous coincidences and synchronicity. So I think some of the times when we get down on synchronicity in the show or down on coincidences, we have to actually let go and admit that there are truly coincidences that happen.
Yes. I believe that. Yep.
Well, so what else? When they were talking about Alexandria and Al was teasing Morgan about the king and the tiger, I just thought how ridiculous that must have sounded to the rest of the group. And it was so funny to me that there's truth in it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So there's a moment when everybody is toasting Jimbo and toasting themselves with the beer and everything. Luciana looks up to something and was she referring to Clayton? Was she referring to Polar Bear?
She was when she said, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, it was totally a shout out to Polar Bear.
Good. So I hope that, this sounds awful, but of all the people that I thought we were going to lose in the truck stop, I was like, oh, please let it be Luciana. Because
that does sound awful.
It does, but she has lost her whole family. She has lost her new family, sans Alicia. I don't know how much she has to go on for. And I think Clayton really gave her second wind. And if we didn't lose her this episode, I really, really hope she goes on to, find love or find something.
Some kind of purpose.
Right, because she started out this season so destitute. Or this mid-season.
Another shout out that happened during that time was Strand's comment about, I thought I would never have someone to share a drink with again. That was a shout out to Madison.
Oh, and it was with Alicia.
Yeah.
The two prime characters, I just loved that it was them. Yeah.
It was appropriate. So I have a question about Martha's end. Do you think that chaining her to the police car to die was less cruel than killing her?
Morgan couldn't kill her. He said himself he couldn't kill her.
But is that choice enough to allow Morgan to keep his humanity? It's still a pretty inhumane thing to do.
It is. It is. I feel like it's the whole, I like to eat meat, but I don't like to see slaughter factories. His whole.
That's a brutal comparison, but that's probably appropriate.
It is. I'm watching a show with a vegan who just likes to push her views on everybody, so that's what came to mind. But it's his way of being like, I don't have to kill you, but I'm not going to let you do damage when you die. That's the inevitable outcome. Yeah. It was definitely an out without him having to, pull the trigger, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a cop out. And not to say that.
Sorry. Thud. I was missing Phil's special effects, his vocal effects. So
I thought you were putting a stick through Martha's
there you
forehead.
go.
I was like, oh. No, like, and I'm not knocking him because I don't know. Even if somebody was dying of the zombie plague, I don't know I could kill a living human being like that who was vulnerable. Yeah, if they were like trying to wrestle me and infect me or kill me or, whatever, I could kill them. But if they were just laying there all pathetic like and everything, I don't know if I could stab a stick through their head or something. I would have to wait until they turned. I would have to wait until they were completely gone. I don't know that I could kill a human being that was not a threat to me at that time. And Morgan had a thing to do. He was on a mission to save his friends, but he also didn't want Martha to be able to cause any damage in her zombie form. So I get it.
The arm, man. The arm was gruesome.
The arm was great. I loved the arm.
It was really good. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, anything else? I mean, I actually have more, but we are at an hour and 20 minutes.
What could you possibly have?
Oh, just notes. Why would Martha admit to Morgan that she used the antifreeze? What did she gain?
Ah, okay. So I thought of this too, but then we went through this whole BS earlier in the season where there was that article that was like, their radios can't go that long, blah, blah, blah. Well, the CBs on the trucks and the CB at the truck stops absolutely could broadcast that far, but they were right in that the little handheld things that Morgan and Martha had
wouldn't make it back.
They would pick up the signal, but they're not making it back. And I think somebody in the show made that point. I think it was Momo or somebody who made that in the show. So it was kind of one of those things where the Bond villain gives away the plot because, like, you're gonna die. Like, there's no other way you can get out of this. Do you really expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. And then they leave the room for Bond to wiggle out of his restraints and get away. And so that's exactly what it was she was just like, you're never going to reach him on the walkie-talkie. You've got this thing through your leg. You're not going nowhere. Here's how I did it. I think it was just that smug, this doesn't end any other way but all of us mutually, expiring. So here's how I did it.
Sorry.
That's got to be Smalls.
It is Smalls. Yep.
See, I recognize the dog.
So another thing was, I am embarrassed to admit it, but I didn't realize that Martha had let Jim bite her.
I did not either. I
thought she was just dealing
somewhere
with the infection.
The gunshot wound, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Nope.
And I liked how she said it, I made sure you couldn't help me. So I just have lots of little random things like that. Still.
Go ahead. We'll chew right through them.
No, it's all good. I mean, I think that probably is it. I don't know. You know how the notes get. They all kind of blend together at the end of the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, just commented that, of course, she was at mile marker 54 when she called Morgan.
Yeah, it ended where it all began for her.
And didn't Morgan learn his lesson when he tried to save the wolf? Going back and trying to save Martha was just like trying to save the wolf.
Yeah, but I lose people, I lose myself.
I don't know that maybe he was seeing Martha in that light.
I think he was very much seeing a lot of himself in Martha. in Clear.
I think so too, and she makes the point of kind of getting under his skin and making him feel that. I mean, he even says to, I don't remember who he says it to. I think he says it to Dory. I used to be her.
Yeah. Yep.
So now I think I'm pretty much done.
So she wasn't our cast member of the week or anything, but Dani Garcia is on the cover of Eden magazine, and looks like they have a little bit of a pictorial spread and an interview with her. So she plays Luciana on the show. So if you're interested in that, she's in Eden magazine this month. It looks kind of amazing.
What magazine?
Eden.
Oh, what's that a magazine for?
I don't know.
I put you on the spot again. I'm sorry.
The Eden magazine. They have an interview with Catherine Schreiber. They talk about nutrition.
It's edited by Adam and Eve.
Harvesting the wisdom of our souls, spiritual science, and Dani Garcia, Fear the Walking Dead. So, yeah. The October issue of Eden magazine.
EDEN. Yes, yep. Now you can sponsor us.
It's a really pretty picture on the front. So if you are a fan of hers, go and pick that up. Gosh, we only have a couple of more days.
And
then, the time we are podcasting.
Yeah.
Till Walking Dead Prime comes back.
Yeah, man, you guys, it's been really kind of scattered trying to get stuff posted and trying to stay on top of the season, and I'm really sorry, and we really vow to do better with Walking Dead Prime.
Yeah, we pick up a lot more listeners with the Prime show, so we will try and stay on top of our game. Are you planning on anything special Sunday night?
Well, I'll be blasting home from work and hoping that nothing gets spoiled for me. I've already seen creepy Ezekiel, creepy
Father Gabe.
Father Gabe.
Yeah.
Ezekiel's not creepy. Ezekiel's lovely.
I think I'm doing chili this weekend. We always do something with a red sauce.
Very appropriate.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing. And the weather's starting to get cooler and everything, and I'm like, chili and cornbread just sounds delicious.
Maybe I'll put in a request for spaghetti.
We've got some stout beers that are coming on tap at the brewery. Get myself a growler or one of those so I don't get any
antifreeze poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my plans, and I know that hopefully we will have a special guest maybe for our season premiere episode.
There is a possibility. We need to square that away.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. It may mean that we podcast a little later in the week, but I think it'll be worth it.
And we're both obsessively playing The Walking Dead Our World with Brian.
And I have to confess, I feel like I am not a very good team member. I do my best to get in help where I can, but I'm definitely not one of the uber achievers.
Oh, but you know what? There's 25 members in the group. It's 25 maxed, and I think you're in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah. I really think there's 15 other people that... we all have work. We all have lives. Like last week, I didn't play... it was in Oklahoma City. I wasn't playing crap. I went to training. I got back to my hotel room, which was in where we were training. And I think I made my annual pilgrimage to the mall to go to a Sephora and a Victoria's Secret. And then to realize that I'm way too old for Hot Topic. Oh my God, that was heartbreaking.
You're never too old for a Hot Topic.
Oh, I was seriously just enough with the Axe body spray. And yeah, if I wore more concert tees, sure, but they didn't have anything else that really appealed to me. They had discontinued their pop characters for Preacher. Otherwise, you and I would have Preacher pop characters.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But Hot Topic, Spencer's, Claire's, I just went in there and went, I'm not spending money on this. It looks like it came out of a gumball machine. I'm I'm so old. I found myself in the businesswoman section of JCPenney's.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm too much of a responsible adult. And then I went to this delicious place called the Bricktown Brewery and got their Bricktown Stout. And life was fine again.
You could go back to Hot Topic and it was all good.
I just realized I was way too sober for the mall. I'm in the back of a lift going, doesn't this have a mini bar? Jesus.
All right, my dear. Well, in interest of being a responsible adult, I should probably wrap this up.
All right.
So until our premiere, remember,
take it one dead day at a time.
That was pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right. We'll leave it on that note.
Have a good week, everybody. Stop watching the news.
Yeah, stop watching the news and watch The Walking Dead.
Yes, watch The Walking Dead.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Good night.